Well, I wish this could be an exciting live stream. I wish I could come out and go, oh my gosh, look at Devon Achane. Oh my gosh, look at James Cook. These running backs, we'll talk about them. But obviously, it's hard to be excited based off the fact that we have a significant Tua injury here. Based off the fact that now the Miami Dolphins offense may end up being one of the worst offenses in the NFL. We'll see exactly how bad that. We'll talk about the Dolphins, but first, let's get the Bills out of the way, right? With the Bills, I think it's very straightforward. Maybe some people come out and panic. Maybe some people say, oh my gosh, Josh Allen, 139 passing yards. Oh, Keon Coleman, 0 receiving yards. Dalton Kincaid, 33 receiving yards. Khalil Shakir, 54. This isn't a football game, right? This is a game that the Buffalo Bills, they come out, they get out to a lead very, very early here. At the half, this game is 24-10. It is 31-10 by the time we get to the third quarter. Then Tua goes down. It's not a football game at all. Okay. So to come out and panic about anything that you have to do here with Buffalo, it just doesn't matter at all. Really, the only thing that's worth talking about is maybe the usage with the receivers in this. I guess we'll talk about James Cook, right? Because the storyline with James Cook is you don't have any rushing upside because Josh Allen is going to vulture those touchdowns at the goal line, which Josh Allen definitely is going to take a ton of rushing touchdowns at the goal line. You saw that last week with 2 rushing touchdowns. You saw that last year with 15 rushing touchdowns. But James Cook still says, you know what? Don't care. It's great offense. James Cook has 11 carries, 78 rushing yards, multiple rushing touchdowns. Obviously, you have some Ray Davis usage mixed in. But actually, if you look at what you had at half, the vast majority of this backfield was going in the direction of James Cook. James Cook had over half of the snaps played, and James Cook pretty much had all touches. So don't worry about Ray Davis. Don't worry about Ty Johnson was used on third down. I mean, he had 1 reception. Who cares? So James Cook, great game. You started him. Be very happy. Be excited to start him going into the future. Now, like I said, you are going to have to deal with Josh Allen occasionally vulturing these rushing touchdowns. But at the end of the day, you're still starting running back that can catch the ball in one of the best offenses in the NFL. Y'all know I actually had James Cook. I had the Buffalo Bills as my Super Bowl team this year. I had the Bills coming into the season to win the Super Bowl. Yes, I tried to get a little unique. Yes, I didn't want to be stereotypical and just go with the Chiefs, even though the Chiefs are probably a better team. But I think this is a phenomenal offense. James Cook, is he starting back? He'll catch the ball. He'll have something in the red zone as well. Now, let's go over and let's look at the receivers. Shakir, you should be very excited about him from this performance. Now, I have been team Keon Coleman over Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman over Curtis Samuel all offseason. Shakir, back-to-back great games here. While Shakir only has 54 receiving yards, it's 54 receiving yards in an offense that only had 139 passing yards. So Shakir had 30% of this Buffalo Bills receiving volume. That's a great mark. Shakir will be moving up in my rankings after this game, combined with what he did in week 1. I think you should be extremely excited if you have him. Now, let's go over to Miami. This is what we don't want to talk about. Okay. So we all know Tua goes down with the concussion. Shout out Sal Vetri. He was nice enough to come watch the game with me at my house. And yeah, we saw Tua go down. It was gross, audibly. Oh crap. This is not good. And it's very sad. I mean, I remember I was telling Sal this, but when Tua had the hit against the Cincinnati Bengals back 2 years ago, I distinctly remember it because I was at Pluckers. Shout out Pluckers Wing Bar, Austin, Texas. One of my faves. But anyway, big sports bar. Everybody just goes silent when Tua is hit 2 years ago. It looks really rough. Not as bad as it was then, but I mean, obviously, this is a situation in which every concussion you have is more and more serious. Every concussion you have is more and more severe. You will have more time missed. So, I mean, looking at the chat right now, Jeffrey says, I think Tua is done for good. Close Quarter says Tua will be back in 3 weeks. Obviously, it is extremely difficult to figure out what's going to happen. Ben says Tua will retire. I have no idea. Can you let me know in the live chat right now, how much time do you think Tua misses? If you're going, how many games does Tua play this season after this week? How many games does Tua play rest of season? Okay. A bunch of retire messages in the chat. Danny says, impossible to say. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm saying it's impossible to say. People are saying he plays 6 or less weeks. The thing is, if people are saying I have literally no idea. Sal was, I don't want to put too much out. Sal was saying that he had some history where he talked to a concussion doctor and they said like, hey, I'm one of the best concussion doctors ever. And concussions, people have no idea what's going on. It's so hard. And it's a case by case basis. I would lie and act like if I knew anything that was going on here. So just to let you know about me, I had head surgery when I was a baby, so I was never allowed to play contact sports. I had what's called a shunt, shout out shunts. And so I was never able to play football. I've never had a concussion. I'm very happy that I haven't. So my limited knowledge of what concussion protocol is, what you have to deal with is from Last Chance U, when they were just having the kids sit at the computer and try to take memory test. I think I have no idea how long Tua misses. Now I do know something. In any game that Tua misses, that Skylar Thompson is the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. Tyreek Hill goes from being the wide receiver 1 in fantasy down to being a wide receiver. I don't want to say wide receiver 2, but if it's Skylar Thompson, he's a wide receiver 2. Jalen Waddle goes from being a wide receiver 2 in fantasy. I have him as my wide receiver 2 in the Flock League, down to somebody that I don't know if I can start. I mean, I'll probably end up having to start him in the Flock League because I was an idiot and made the worst Amari Cooper trade of all time. And we have 2 flex spots. But if you play in a league, like especially a 10-team league with only 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, there's a 0% chance you put Jalen Waddle in your starting lineup next week. Obviously, the deeper the format, the more viable Waddle is. But I would say Waddle goes from being a high-end wide receiver 2, low-end wide receiver 1, to now being a borderline wide receiver 3 flex play. Maybe. Obviously, no other receiver was interesting in Miami before. Definitely no other receiver is interesting in Miami now, except maybe their leading receiver on their team. Except maybe their leading rusher on their team. This is what confused me, right? Devon Achane weighs 188 pounds. Achane, small running back, dealing with an ankle injury coming into this week. Obviously, we said you better start Devon Achane. He's in, Mostert's out, must start player, duh. Hope you listen, but anyway. What was crazy was at the end of the game, when they're showing Waddle and Tyreek on the bench, their superstar running back, which at this point you can say Achane is a superstar, is in the game in the 4th quarter. No idea why. Makes no sense. But all I know now is Achane's doing what I thought he couldn't. What I said the Achane ceiling is I thought he could come out, turn into prime Alvin Kamara. I know, take a shot, whatever it is, the Flock Fantasy drinking game. I thought that he could potentially be a running back that had, if he was able to expand his receiving role, that had an insane ceiling as a receiver and had the red zone usage. But I thought there was no shot that Achane had 20-plus touches a game. At his size, I thought there was no way he was Saquon Barkley. I thought there was no way he was Jonathan Taylor. I ranked Achane behind JT. I ranked Achane behind Saquon Barkley coming into the season because we had never seen a running back of his size turn out to be a consistent 3-down option. But Achane had 22 carries this week. Achane had 7 targets as well. in a game in which it was a game-time decision dealing with an ankle injury. And they had him out there in the fourth quarter. Absolutely insane. If Tua was healthy, and if we were expecting this to be a top 5 offense in the NFL, Achane would 100% be ahead of Jonathan Taylor in my rankings now. I would probably have it, right now I have it Breece, Bijan, CMC, Barkley. I had JT, then Achane. Now at this point, obviously, I mean, I still think JT has to fall behind Achane. I think Achane has to move up another spot. But I don't know. I mean, in terms of him potentially turning into the running back 1 overall, I just think that this is going to be an absolute garbage offense. And oh, yes, I forgot. Danny's reminding me Jahmyr Gibbs. I had Achane behind Gibbs. Let me know in the live chat right now. I would say 100% Achane over Gibbs if Tua was healthy. If this was a top 5 offense, easily give me Achane over Gibbs. And I had Gibbs coming into the season ahead of Achane, and I'll take my L. But can you spam the chat? With the Tua injury and with this being a worse offense than it once was, would you rather have Gibbs or Achane? Gibbs or Achane? Okay. Gibbs, Achane, Gibbs, Achane. Someone randomly says JT. There's no way in hell in a PPR format you can go Jonathan Taylor over Devon Achane. And trust me, I was the guy screaming to go Jonathan Taylor over Achane coming into the season. I drafted more Jonathan Taylor in underdog drafts. I wish Jonathan Taylor was going to be able to have the same type of ceiling that Achane is currently showing us, but it just simply isn't going to happen. Achane gives you the 7 receptions, 69 receiving yards, and the receiving touchdown. And you see what he did week 1 as a receiver. Week 1 as a receiver, he was only behind Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I mean, I think one of our most liked comments on the video that we posted after week 1 was somebody commented Devon Achane, running back 1 on his team and wide receiver 3 on his team. And here this week, Devon Achane is the running back 1 on his team and the number 1 receiver on his team. So please make sure you are taking Achane over Jonathan Taylor. That's an absolute no-brainer. You cannot go in the other direction in a PPR format, even if this offense is bad, because of the receiving volume that Achane's going to have out of this backfield. Even with the Tua injury, Achane has to be a riser from this game. Neil says, and what if the Dolphins sign a quarterback? So I saw some people in the chat saying like, oh, Ryan Tannehill. What quarterback would y'all want to see the Dolphins sign? I don't know if y'all are saying Tannehill just because obviously Tannehill has the connection to Miami and you've seen Ryan Tannehill in a Miami Dolphins jersey before. But what quarterback would you reasonably want the Dolphins to go for? Jake the Snake says Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's in Indy. Axe says Winston. Winston's in Cleveland, and based on the Deshaun Watson situation, I don't think Cleveland is interested at all in trading Jameis Winston. Danny says Ryan Tannehill. But yeah, and Mariota in my mind is a realistic option. And am I saying that's a great option? Of course not. I'm not trying to say Mariota is a great option by any means. But if we want to come up with realistic options, I think that's the guy. Like, Peyton says Tom, mother effing Brady. I mean, he does live in Miami. Short drive to the stadium. But like, if we're being realistic here, like Fitzmagic, Tom Brady, Jameis Winston, these things aren't happening. If you look at, somebody says Jimmy G, like let's look at these quarterbacks that y'all are bringing up here. Let's go to Ryan Tannehill. When's the last time that Ryan Tannehill was a starting quarterback? I legitimately don't know the answer to this question. Let's go ahead and let's pull it up. Ryan Tannehill, the last time he started 10 plus games was 2022. When's the last time that we had Jimmy Garoppolo starting 10 plus games? Last time Jimmy Garoppolo started 10 plus games was 2022. I guess maybe that's not as long as I thought. Maybe I just made myself look like a complete clown here. Kaepernick, definitely not happening. Matt Ryan, definitely not happening. Jameis, like I said, the trade's not happening. I think, yeah, your best shot is maybe the Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe the Ryan Tannehill calls aren't bad. Honestly, they're probably better than the Marcus Mariota call. I have no idea why I said Marcus Mariota was realistic and the other quarterbacks weren't. Ignore me, please. It's a little late here. Yeah, last time Mariota played 10 plus games was 2022 as well, and he looked much worse than the other guys. Did he look much worse? 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions for an Atlanta Falcons team that turned out to be just a complete dumpster fire when he left. Now, this is what we need. I've been waiting for y'all. I've been waiting for y'all to wisen up, waiting for y'all to realize who's going to save this team and what needs to happen here. Trey Lance. Call Jerry Jones. Get Jerry Jones on the phone. Get him in. Close Quarter says stick with Skyler. The realistic situation of what I think is most likely to happen here is they stick with Skylar Thompson. I probably agree with y'all. I think Ryan Tannehill's maybe a better option, but Skylar Thompson's in the building, knows the playbook, clearly has been training. Looked horrendous. Literally looked like a deer in the headlights, which, yes, I have seen that before. Your boy's from Texas, but I don't know how you could possibly. Jaquez says, do I trade Tyreek Hill and Devon Achane for CMC, Nico Collins, and Rashee Rice? Here's what I'm going to do for y'all real quick. This may be gross when I pull it up on the live stream initially, but bear with me. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pull up my rankings on this site here. And we are going to update them live together, and we are going to figure out. Let's update the rankings live, and let's move these Miami guys around. Let's figure out where they're going to go. Because as soon as you send me that, I know for a fact I want Christian McCaffrey over Tyreek Hill now, even with the CMC injury. Let me go ahead and sorry. Right now, obviously, we just updated flockfantasy.com, so there's actually a different site that I have to submit my rankings to, which is a little bit annoying, but it is what it is. Got to deal with it for the time being until we get the creator side of flockfantasy.com done, but the user side of flockfantasy.com is done now if y'all are interested in going ahead and checking that out. But let me pull up what we have here. Let's pull up the create rankings. I'm going to pull up my rest of season rankings over there on flockfantasy.com. And we are going to head over to the wide receiver rankings. So here they are, ladies and gentlemen. Looking pretty, as usual. Let's go ahead and let's zoom in on this page for y'all. Okay. So previous to this, I had Tyreek Hill, wide receiver 1. Tyreek Hill is behind CeeDee Lamb easily now. Tyreek Hill is behind Amon-Ra St. Brown easily now. And I know it's crazy. St. Brown scored less than 5 points week 1. To have him as wide receiver 2 may be clinically insane. Would y'all rather have Tyreek Hill or Jamar Chase? Tyreek Hill or Jamar Chase rest of season here? Please let me know. Okay. Most people are saying Jamar Chase. All right, let's move him down one more. Next question up. Tyreek Hill versus Justin Jefferson. Are we wanting Tyreek or Jefferson? Danny says the question is Nico or Hill. So you really think Tua's Dunskies? Looking at Hill versus Jefferson, yep, everybody's on the Jefferson side as well. Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown. I'm going to skip by this one. I'm going to say right now I'd rather have A.J. Brown. I moved Cooper Kupp up to wide receiver 7 based off the Puka Nacua injury. Obviously, Kupp, largest riser in fantasy football after week 1. This is where I think maybe we can start having this conversation. Because I don't think Tua is guaranteed to be out for the year. I see people in the chat going, oh, retirement, blah, blah, blah. Looking at the chat, everybody is saying Kupp as well. Danny says Kupp, based off Danny's calls and playing in a league with them and seeing the FSE guys crush me. Yep, we're going to have to move Tyreek below Kupp. I don't know about Wilson. Garrett Wilson, Cooper Kupp. Garrett Wilson, Tyreek Hill. We got Tyreek, Wilson. Tyreek, Wilson, Tyreek. I think this is going to be the breaking point on Tyreek. I'm going to sleep on it. To move him from wide receiver 1 down to wide receiver 7 is already a pretty big fall. And let's update Jalen Waddle here very quick. I'm not going to ask these first few. These first few are relatively easily. Yes, I'd well rather have Rashee Rice over Jalen Waddle now. I know most people are going to prefer. I know I'm not even going to ask y'all Olave. I know we're going to disagree on Olave. Let's keep moving him down. I think he has to go behind Evans. I think he has to go behind Devonta Smith. I think he has to go behind Devontae Adams. Would you rather have Jalen Waddle or DJ Moore? This is the first question I'm going to ask y'all. Jalen Waddle versus DJ Moore. Okay, more, Waddle, more. More, Waddle, more. Waddle. All right, let's drop him down. Next one up. Jalen Waddle versus Stephon Diggs. What are we doing? And also, real quick, we're about to hit 1,000 likes on the stream. If you have not done so already, hit that like button, please. Okay. Diggs, Waddle, Diggs, Waddle. So it looks like most people are Diggs here. All right. Bye-bye, Waddle. You're down to 20. Keep in mind, I have Jalen Waddle in the flock league, so seeing y'all do this is extremely painful. Because I have him in the flock league, I can't lower him too much in my rankings because in the league analyzer on the site, I don't want my team to get too much worse. So for that reason, I'm going to keep Waddle here and I'll reevaluate in the morning. Let's go over and let's look at running back. Running back, Achane jumps Taylor for me for sure. Achane versus Gibbs is where I think maybe things get a little interesting. Like I said, if it wasn't for the Tua injury, I easily prefer Gibbs over Achane. But with the Tua injury, I don't know. So please spam the chat. Are we going to go Achane or Gibbs here? Achane, Gibbs. Achane, Gibbs. I'm going to go. I'm not moving Achane. I'm not doing it yet. Quarterback rankings, Josh Allen doesn't move at all. Tua clearly falls behind Goff, falls behind Baker, falls behind Lawrence, falls behind Love, falls behind Stafford, falls behind Caleb. What's nice is we'll put Tua right behind Fields. What's nice with Tua is in your redraft league, you most likely throw him on the IR. So it's not necessarily the end of the world there. Going over to tight ends, Kincaid had himself a fine day. I know people are maybe a little upset with us for not talking a ton about Dalton Kincaid when we looked at the Bills. But I do want to reiterate, he had 139 passing yards for Josh Allen. It's hard to take too much away from it. Kincaid had 4 receptions. He had 33 receiving yards. He had like 25% of this Bills offense. This offense is going to be much better going in the future. I still view Dalton Kincaid as a top 5 tight end. That does not change. And I forgot about James Cook. Yes, we'll update James Cook with y'all. I'm sorry. Let's move back over to James Cook. James Cook, I previously had at RB13. I had James Cook right behind Travis Etienne, Josh Jacobs. I don't know if much has changed here with James Cook, to be honest with you. Obviously, phenomenal game, right? But we still, at least I'm viewing James Cook in a similar light that I did previously. If I look at James Cook, this is a running back that is playing in an elite offense. Like I said, I had the Bills winning the Super Bowl this year, which I'm not going to victory lap that 2 weeks in, of course, but I like the Bills a lot. He can catch the ball at the same time. The drawbacks are obviously that Josh Allen will vulture some of these rushing touchdowns. Josh Allen had 15 rushing touchdowns last year. He had 2 rushing touchdowns in week 1. I will say for sure I'm going to move Cook ahead of Etienne. Jacobs versus James Cook is a little tough for me. We're going to go Jacobs. We're going to go James Cook over Jacobs, primarily just due to the Jordan Love injury. I think Jacobs going to have a tough little stretch of games here. Honestly, long-term, I think I can make an argument for Jacobs. Really, if Jordan Love was fully healthy, I'd have Jacobs still ahead of James Cook. But there's no way James Cook moves much higher than this. Like I said, I think James Cook is still primarily the same guy that we viewed him as previously. But I think we talked about everybody here. I'm actually going to probably stay up for the next 3 hours reviewing teams over there on flogfantasy.com. So, of course, if you want me to review your team in a live stream, if you want me to review your team at all, you can, or ask a start sit question, trade question, anything you want, you can do all of that through flogfantasy.com. But the cheapest way to get a team review would actually be heading over to Underdog Fantasy. If you go and use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, you are actually going to be getting our special CeeDee Lamb pick, more than less than half a total yard for this week. And at the same time, you are going to be getting a free team review over there on flockfantasy.com with promo code FLOCK on Underdog and a $10 deposit. And on top of that, you're going to be getting a 50% deposit bonus up to $250. So make sure you go use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. You can find that link in the description and the comment section in the live chat right now. And I see everybody screaming at us to update Khalil Shakir. So let me go ahead. We'll update Khalil Shakir. I apologize. We can update Keon Coleman as well. I mean, with Keon, I think that we should be probably pretty excited. I don't want to say excited. Excited about what he did week 1. Obviously, this week it wasn't great. But let's pull up Shakir. Shakir at wide receiver 50. Obviously, Shakir looks great in this game. It's not a game where he wins you your matchup by any means, but he has 30% of the Bills' passing offense. I think I'd rather have Shakir easily over Lockett, Shakir over Sutton. Ooh, this maybe is where things get interesting. Shakir, I know wide receiver 48 seems super low, but you look at the wide receivers that are right ahead of him. Would y'all rather have Shakir or Jackson Smith-Njigba? Shakir or JSN? Patrick says, just got here watching my Texas State Bobcats. I have a bunch of friends at Texas. I had a bunch of friends at Texas State, a little bit older, so I guess the majority of them are graduated now, but hopefully Bobcats are doing well. Let's see. Shakir, JSN, Shakir. Does look like the vast... I mean, Shakir can be the wide receiver 1 here for Josh Allen. JSN's maybe the wide receiver 3 for Geno Smith. I think Shakir probably jumps JSN and Jordan Addison. I think Shakir jumps Deontay Johnson. Would y'all rather have Shakir or Hollywood Brown? Now, tread carefully. I may or may not have Shakir in the flock. I'm sorry, Hollywood in the flock league now. Sadly. Shakir or Hollywood? Hollywood not close. Kohler knows what's up. Shakir. Hollywood. Shakir. To be fair, Shakir could be the wide receiver 1 there. I'm probably not moving Shakir any higher than this. I think we move into wide receiver 44. Keon Coleman, wide receiver 40. Doesn't really change in my rankings. Still think that he is my wide receiver 1 in Buffalo long term here. But if we're making rankings for week 3, probably we need to give more respect to Shakir than Keon Coleman. But I think that should be it for this live stream. Do want to remind y'all, please make sure you go ahead, take advantage of that offer we have on Underdog Fantasy. Go get the 50% deposit bonus, get the free CeeDee Lamb, pick 'em more than less than half total yard. And at the same time, get a free team review over there on flockfantasy.com. You can find that link in the description and comment section. Just make sure you set up an account on flockfantasy.com with the same email address that you used to make that first time deposit on Underdog Fantasy. That way, when I go to credit you with the free team review voucher, we can find the account and we can get you that free team review. But much love, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate you. Really hope that you have a great night. Hope you didn't have too many Dolphins on your team. And I hope I get to see you out and grade your team and talk about your team in tomorrow's live stream.